Greetings, my name is Dr. Janine Parolini, and welcome to this session on assessing your transformational servant leadership. I'm truly grateful for my career so far in being able to invest in thousands of leaders in hundreds of organizations. That qualitative work has allowed me the opportunity to grow as a leader as well as to invest in and connect with and develop all different kinds of leaders throughout the globe. Today, we're discussing the quantitative research that I have conducted on over 400 leaders to assess their transformational or servant leadership preference. Being aware of your preference for either transformational or servant leadership will help you to better balance out your leadership approach. In our fast-paced world today, we need multiple leaders to get things done and get them done well. So understanding these two styles and knowing your preference will help you better collaborate with other leaders. Let's go on now to take the assessment. Upon being analyzed, my research turned out to be quite strong and solid. I found that these 5 questions primarily distinguish between transformational and servant leaders. When these 5 questions are used, approximately 87% of the time, leaders will be correctly classified into either transformational or servant leadership. Let's now go through these questions together and have you assess yourself. Keep in mind there is no right or wrong here. It's more of which one is your preference. For the first question, do you believe that you are a leader that is primarily focused on meeting the needs of the organization first or the individual first? Leaders will tend to have a preference for meeting the needs of the organizational first or meeting the needs of the individual first. Which one do you prefer? Write your word down now. For question 2, do you believe that as a leader that your first inclination is to lead first or to serve first? Let me explain what that means. Leaders that lead first tend to start with vision, mission, and strategy with people. They tend to use those things to help people get on board. Does this describe your leadership? Do you tend to lead first? Keep in mind that we need leaders that lead first. Yet there is another style of leadership that desires to serve first. As a leader, do you tend to come alongside of other people, roll up your sleeves with them, and help them out? Could you be the type of leader that tends to serve others first in this way or other ways? Write down whether you see yourself as a lead first leader or a serve first leader. And please keep in mind that both are needed and not one is better than the other. Next question is, where is your focus? Do you believe as a leader that your first allegiance and focus is primarily towards the organization or the individual? Again, where's your primary loyalty? Do you tend to see the organization first that way, or do you tend to see the individual first that way? Again, please write down the word, either organization or individual, that best describes you. Fourth question. Do you believe as a leader that you influence others through more customary or unconventional means? Let me explain what those terms mean. Customary influences of leadership are widely accepted in that the leader tends to use more vision, more charisma, and get people excited about moving forward towards the mission and the strategy. Do you influence others through more customary means? Or do you tend to be more unconventional in the way that you influence others? Unconventional means of influence include more coming alongside of people, working together with them, helping them out, thinking about their needs, and trying to find ways to serve them. Again, neither style of influence is right or wrong. Both are needed. It's just a matter of which one you prefer. Write down the term that describes you the best. The fifth and final question is, do you believe as a leader that your attempts to influence or persuade others come off as more controlling or freeing? Again, let me explain those terms. Both terms are positive and both terms are necessary in leadership. When we come off controlling in this context, it means that we're trying to help a group of people move together towards a common goal. And so therefore, there's a little more control around the team and around the group to move together instead of individuals going off on their own. So in this context, controlling means trying to move a group or a team together through vision, through strategy, and through collaborative efforts. In this particular question, freeing means the attempt to try to help the individual find their own purpose and passion, even outside of the group. Sometimes people need help discovering who they are individually and their individual identity and purpose and passion. So the leader who tends to influence with freedom first is trying to help individuals find their own place within the organization or the team. So would you say in this context that your influence tends to come off more controlling because you tend to try to bring groups collaboratively together as your first preference towards a common goal? Or do you tend to come off as more of a freeing leader because you tend to prefer working with individuals to help them find their own place in the organization or on the team? Which term best describes you? Let's now total up your score and discover which leadership style that you prefer. If you answered organization for number 1, lead for number 2, organization for number 3, customary for number 4, and or controlling for number 5, those describe transformational leaders. On the other hand, your response to 1 as individual, or to question 2 to serve, question 3 as individual, question 4 as unconventional, or question 5 as freeing, describes servant leadership. So go ahead and total up the number of times that you responded with terms that apply to transformational leadership, and then also total up the times that your replies equate with servant leadership. If you're feeling right in the middle between the two styles, keep in mind that you do have a preference, even if it's slight. So just go ahead and name your preference. Do you tend to be more of a transformational or a servant leader? For further information on developing your transformational leadership, or implementing it on a team or within your community or organization, please see the following resources. Thank you so much for listening to this presentation.